So this video is about why I choose not to read reversals. That is a card that when you lay it down in the spread is reversed, and to keep the card in that upside down position and to read it differently because it's upside down. When I do a spread, as I lay the cards out, if any are upside down, I turn them all the right way up. So the first thing I want to say is if you already read reversals and it works for you, fantastic. That's brilliant. I am not suggesting that because this is how I read, it's how you have to read. I'm just sharing my viewpoint and my reasons. And, you know, at the end of the day, when it comes to tarot, if you're getting accurate results, then you're doing it right. Okay. So before I went professional, I was reading for friends. I was reading for friends of friends. I'd got to the point where quite often I'd go to a friend's house and their neighbour or their brother or someone would be there going, "Oh, did you bring your cards?" And to be honest, it was becoming quite a problem. And it was about this point when I often did read reversals. And I began to realise that if I did a spread and quite a few of the cards were upside down, maybe the Tower, Death, the Devil was there as well, people would look at the cards and be so anxious about what they presumed was a negative reading that they often didn't listen to what I was saying. So that was a big part of my choice to read all of the cards the right way up. The second thing is when we talk about tarot, we talk about reading tarot. The most powerful way to read tarot is to look at the cards. Yes, we need to understand the imagery. I think that's important. We also, I think, need to have a good working understanding, particularly those of us that are reading for other people, of every single deck in the card. I don't believe that just intuition is enough to read tarot. I do think you need a knowledge of the cards. But I don't think reading tarot is about memorizing meanings and repeating them. So I began to realize that, particularly as I moved into being a professional where I can pack in a lot of work hours basically. Um it was much easier for me to have the cards the right way up and to be able to look at the imagery and see the image as we are meant to see it, painted by the wonderful Pamela Coleman Smith, and to read the imagery in the card when I was looking at the right way round. Let's take an example. I can read, if I need to, upside down. If I'm waiting to order in a cafe and all my kids are crowding around the menu, I can read the menu upside down if I need to, but it takes me a lot more effort and I can't speed read upside down. And I guess that's the best reason to express why I don't read the reversed cards, why I turn them all the right way round. Because in a reading, my client wants me to be accurate, they want me to be able to communicate clearly, and they want the maximum amount of information for their time. And I don't blame them. I charge for my time, I'm a professional. And I want to provide a really good service, but not to be too exhausted by the end of it, because usually 10 minutes later, there's another client to read for. So for me, having the cards and turning them the right way round allows me to look at the image. And it allows my unconscious to pick out the symbols that are most meaningful. And it allows me to read the cards as if I was reading a book. The difference being that the Four of Swords doesn't have one meaning, but then actually, just use an example, many English words don't have one meaning. I mean, if I say to you the word mother, you may well be thinking about your relationship with your mother. You may, when you hear the word mother, you might go, oh, you might feel sad if you've lost your mother. You might feel comforted if you have a great relationship with your mother. Or you might feel slightly uncomfortable if you have a difficult relationship with your mother. And so it is with tarot. The Four of Swords, it can mean peace, it can mean rest, it can mean recuperation from an illness, it can mean a mental declutter, it can mean meditation, It can mean feeling your pain to better understand yourself and come through it. And I don't need the card to be upside down to tell me whether the energy of the Four of Swords is negative in any way or blocked in any way. Because I read the cards by having a conversation with them, and I will be looking at the card before, the card after, perhaps the card at the bottom of the pack. And if I've done a spread and perhaps the Four of Swords is there, just getting my cards together, and I'm not sure whether this is a positive or a negative meaning on the card, what I do, and this isn't necessarily a reading, it's just a demonstration, I ask the cards. And so I might say, okay, the Four of Swords, it's rest, it's peace, it's the need for rest, the need for peace. If I'm not sure whether that's negative or positive, if I'm not sure whether that's saying that the client is fully embracing this energy, needs to embrace it more, or perhaps has embraced it a bit too much, then I'll ask the cards. And what I do is I shuffle the cards, and cards are always more useful when we're doing an actual spread. So let's apply the Four of Swords to me. What do I need to know about the Four of Swords in my life? Can I have some extra clarification about this, please? So I've shuffled. I like to cut the deck. I always think with shuffling and cutting, do what works for you. If it's working for you, you're doing it right. If it's not working for you, then reach out, see how other people do it, and mix it up until you find a way that suits you. And when you find a way that works for you, then I would say roll with it and work with it. So I do like to cut the deck. To me, cutting the deck, it's like a full stop. It's like a boom. This is it. This is my moment of pure focus. And then I turn the cards over. And, not surprisingly, those of you that know me, I'm a single mum. I've got 4 kids. I rent in a high cost area in the southeast of England. I work really hard. And what the cards are saying is that I am working too hard and not getting enough of the Four of Swords. I agree. It's true. And I always, if I scooch that across, I always turn the pack upside down, and I always look at the card at the bottom of the pack. And to me, this is just that something extra you need to know. Seven of Swords says that I need to be original. I need to think outside the box. I need to think ahead and take risks to allow myself to not work so hard, to allow myself to have a bit more rest and peace. So I'm not saying don't read reversals, because you know what? If it's working for you, fantastic. We are all different. We all process differently. We all have different ways of reading tarot and different needs when it comes to reading tarot. So, I am absolutely not saying this is the best way to do it or the only way to do it. What I'm doing is I'm sharing how it works for me. To see if it helps you a little bit. So as you can see, I don't need the card to be the right way around or upside down, because if I'm not sure whether a card is blocked or stagnant in some way, I ask for clarification. And this is one of the reasons why with my tarot readings, whether they're by email or online, I don't charge for the number of cards that I pull. I charge for my time. Because sometimes in a reading, whether it's by email or by Zoom or by phone, 3 cards is all I need. Sometimes I can talk for 20 minutes on 3 cards. Sometimes in a reading, perhaps, but especially if it's an email reading, I might have done 3 really quick spreads to get the feel of something. I may not bother writing those up. Those are, if you like, my research spreads. And then I may well get to a spread where I go, aha, that's what the person wants to know, and that's what I write up. So I may, for one of my cheaper, like £25 tarot readings, I may well have pulled 25 cards. But the first 20 cards I may have skim read really quickly until I get to the meat of the problem. And then I may just focus on those last 5 cards. And that's how I read tarot, and that is why I chose not to read tarot in the first reversed cards in the first place, and why I continue not to. I hope that helps. If you'd like to know more, you can, of course, purchase my book. You can grab this on Amazon, on most online booksellers, and also direct from my website as well.